In my video on the end of death canon, I mentioned that there were a number of additional media, both tales and articles, related to the canon that didn't directly tell the story. And I thought for people who prefer this content, this type of content, I thought it might be worth getting into one of those. And this is a short one that I enjoyed. It's called Impossible to Destroy Reptile. And I want to make sure that I credit. Yes, so this was written by Captain Kirby. The Foundation was never late for termination testing. On the 22nd of every month, at 1500 hours on the dot, the door would open to 682's cell. Alarms would blare, the site would enter standard lockdown configuration, and then the show would start. What followed was 5 glorious hours of 682 against the most dangerous contraption that an army of engineers could design. This was the only break from the monotony of containment that the lizard got. It wasn't much, but it was something. And it was the something that gave 682 hope that the Foundation would one day fuck up so bad that it would finally be able to roam the countryside doing what it did best: slaughter. Except today, they were late. Except they were never late. The lizard glared at the door. It refused to open. Date: September 22, 2020. From Dr. Blackbox. 2. SCP-682 Containment Personnel. SCP-682 Termination Personnel. Subject: OmegaK. Message: We have finally obtained X-ray scans of SCP-682. As we predicted, those scans show that SCP-682, like other non-anomalous reptiles, does in fact have a brain. And as recent research into the OmegaK scenario has shown, anything with a brain has been cursed or blessed with immortality. If the lizard wasn't unkillable before, it certainly is now. This means that continued attempts at termination of SCP-682 will be futile. If we can't even kill a rat, the lizard's entirely out of the question. Therefore, we will be suspending SCP-682 termination testing indefinitely. All personnel directly working in this venue of research will be reassigned within the coming week. Containment personnel are to take note, as this will simplify the procedures we have in place for SCP-682. We had a good run. SCP-682 Containment Log, September 22nd, 2020. 3 p.m. Regularly scheduled termination of subject cancelled. No activity. 3:16. Ripples appear in the hydrochloric acid vat, not indicative of enough movement to necessitate action. 3:27. Movement attempted by SCP-682. Appears to be restless thrashing. Electrical shocks introduced to hydrochloric acid stopped the movement. 3:44. Movement attempted by SCP-682. More dramatic and exaggerated than previous attempt. Loads detected on acid vat walls are significantly lower than loads measured during previous SCP-682 breach attempts. This is attributed to a lack of precision in repeated strikes. Electrical shocks introduced to hydrochloric acid failed to stop movement. 3:47. Shouts of anger detected by microphones within the cell. Sudden fluctuation of temperature introduced to containment environment has slowed movement. 3:52. Thrashing resumes at an even more intense rate. 682 speech is recorded by microphones within the cell. Previous containment techniques reapplied to the containment environment. Vat walls projected to hold under current loads. 4:23. Loads on vat walls increased dramatically. Strikes have become more focused on the north wall. 682 shouts threats sporadically. Vat walls projected to hold. However, personnel have been notified of a possible impending containment breach. Preparation for 682 recontainment protocols has been initiated. 5:03. Movement from 682 slows. This change does not correlate with any additional containment measures applied to the environment. 5:04. 682 sinks into the vat. 5:05. Movement ceases. 682 recontainment protocols aborted. Personnel returned to their stations. They weren't coming and they didn't plan on coming. 682 lashed out every day at 1500 hours for the next week. It took it that long to accept its new life. Just the lizard and the acid. The vat was cramped, but even worse, it was boring. Special containment procedures lined through. The lizard wished it was dead. Not a whole lot to get into detail with that article. It's just an interesting look at how even the most fundamental understanding of the Foundation and the most famous anomalies is turned on its head by this whole end of death hub. And that's one thing that's so fascinating about it, is suddenly the entire paradigm of what they are doing has to change. I don't have any more to get into on this article, but for people who enjoyed learning about the end of death through my video, or ironically the Exploring series, happened to post a video on the exact same subject within minutes of me creating a channel and deciding to have the exact same content. Total coincidence. Probably, if anything, my video is going to be totally eclipsed by that just due to the algorithm. But regardless, I just want to share some of the more outlying tales. I don't plan on getting into the meat of the hub because there's so much story there that I don't want to spoil. I just want to kind of share some of the things that are within this canon and why I enjoy them. So if you enjoy this and other similar content, please consider subscribing to watch more. And I'm always open to comments and suggestions, so if you have any, feel free to leave them below. Hope you enjoyed listening to this, and I hope to see you in the next one. Thank you.